one of the court action EACC has indicated says that DPP had said money had been recovered. So I'm asking, whenever you engage, because you have said there is no bad blood between you and DPP, have you not, out of curiosity, asked them, where is this money, 233 million? No, not as a bishop, as the chair of EACC. The matter of bishop, we leave it to Senator Wambua and Senator Okongo.
Chair.
I think, Chair, I would request CEO to answer because he has familiarity maybe with the matter.
But you have said he comes from the same country.
No, let me just give a general answer. Chair, when we received your letter asking us to provide a report on the status of the cases that have been withdrawn by the DPP, we were not prepared to give details. Otherwise, we would have come with files and with all the records so that we can quickly refer and
let me just out of order, completely out of order.
No, let me try and clarify what I was trying to say.
No.
Okay, I withdraw. That statement.
Yes, that's better. It is better. If the taxpayers, Kenyans, listen to what you are saying,
yes,
it will not be business as usual.
Thank you.
Because
I feel I am
out
guided.
of curiosity, if today I am a chair of EACC, which I don't dream of becoming, today I have a file on my table, CEO, and I see there is 233 million that is, it must prick my conscience. As a good citizen, I must ask myself, what is the status? And Regina should have been running around to tell us where these 233 million belong to the people of Garissa. You come from Garissa. Are you aware a kilometer from town there is no running water in Garissa town? Then this money should have assisted to fix. So in fact, you should be so mad in courts that you should be worried that money has been spent and there is no water services because
just like that, 47 of them. Where will this country be? And Chairman, remember. Yeah, Chairman, I have to be kind of to you because I used to see that I know the heat you face. But you see, 2 years, by the time you come here, you should have full facts. And for your information, you don't walk to Parliament without facts, details, files. Because we should actually close the meeting. The time that statement you made that you didn't carry files, we should just stop there and say meeting adjourned. Go and come back with the files.
Yeah, as chair,
CEO, really experienced. I think you're the most experienced CEO that EACC has ever had. So all these cases should be at your fingertips. You know. So since 2023 May.
Not that you talk.
It happened. This happened in 2023 May.
I needed a ruling.
2023 May, CEO. Does it mean that there has not been any intervening action from 23rd of May 2023 to date?
You have some order.
Thank you, Chair. What I can recall very clearly is when we were investigating this thing and the matter, and when the DPP was closing the file, what came up is that this money, the money that we are talking about, had been lent to other ministries within the county government. It was meant for urban development, for drainage.
Can I stop you there?
No, let me just finish.
No, can I stop you there? See,
just a minute.
You cannot allow this to
let
pass.
him just finish. Let him finish.
Now,
because then what he's saying. saying, what you're saying points to misappropriation.
Misappropriation.
But what is here is embezzlement. So just continue.
I agree, it is embezzlement. That is not allowed in law, actually, because these monies were specifically meant for that is not allowed in law, actually, because these monies were specifically meant for urban development, drainage, water, and some market. But after we proposed charges, it was indicated that this money had been lent to other ministries and it was refunded back now to the specific function that it was meant to do, because according to the explanation that was given at that time, that the fund, which is of course World Bank financed, and they used that money to fund other projects within the county government. But you see, that is the way it is. What we are now doing is actually to verify whether we can actually move to court for civil recovery.
What are you recovering, CEO? Just a minute. And as per DPP, he said it has been misappropriated, and so that money was refunded back to the departments. Now, have you gone to investigate again from 23rd May 2023? If not, CEO, what have you been waiting for?
You see, we have two functions after the file was closed. Now we are
and returned to the votes. There was no money lost.
Chair, we are not arguing, but what I'm saying,
yes,
you cannot determine issues before an investigation. You know, if we are seated here, we cannot make a conclusion before these facts are put together, geared towards a recovery.
What are you recovering? And yet there was no money lost. What happened? It was misappropriated from one vote to other votes.
We don't know.
Two issues. According to your investigation, misappropriation has been done.
Yeah.
DPP told you the money has been refunded.
Yes.
Before the file is closed, you should have actually confirmed the money has been returned to the right department. Once you have established that, the officer, this is by government procedure, the officer who has misappropriated the budget or the money should have been charged. And you are the one actually who should prescribe that as the EACC. So where are we?
Just to add on that, we want to see the charge sheet. Because I can see you took the governor to court under EACC number E39 of 2020. Is that right, CEO?
Yes, yes.
So we want to see the charge sheet. What was he charged with? Okay. And the reasons why the case was withdrawn.
Okay.
And you have not indicated whether people had testified. What is the position on this one? That column does not indicate. At what stage was it withdrawn? Because the case was for 2020. Does it mean up to 2023 May, nobody had testified in court?
Okay, let me say that. Let's clarify these facts for you at a later stage.
Yes.
Because you see, we don't have all the facts. As the chair indicated, let's reconfirm some of these things, because if we drag on one issue, it may take a lot of water.
Not dragging. We're just doing two issues, and then we go to the 2023. We'll not look at all of them. So,
Chair, allow me, please.
Yes, Senator Amwa.
CEO, let's go to that case 14. Okay.
14. Okay.
Yeah. So, DPP action on May 2023, 8th, the case is withdrawn, right?
Yes.
And the reasons are given there, which is the DPP indicated that review of the evidence had established that the funds misappropriated had been refunded. Are we together up to that point? Let's go to EACC action. What is your action? Just read it for us, your action.
Okay. EACC action, DPP indicated that the review of the evidence had established that the funds misappropriated had been refunded.
That's your action.
That is the comment we have given here.
Is that your action?
Yes, this, you know, we are explaining what happened.
You know, Chair, this is my point. And it feels bad when I have to sit here then and say certain things about EACC, where my bishop is the chair. But because there's work to be done, let us just do what we need to do. Chair, I take the view that we have actually a bigger problem at the EACC than anyone is willing to admit. You have been applauded by a former chair of anti-corruption as being the most experienced person to fight corruption within EACC as the CEO, because you've grown through the ranks. That what you have read to us is the action of the EACC on a matter where 233 million is either lost or misallocated or misappropriated or embezzled or whatever it is that happened to it, then we have a big problem. Because if this happened in 2023 May, as you said, it's more than 2 years down the line. And the action of the EACC is that the DPP indicated that the money has been refunded. No view, we have a big problem, and the CEO of EACC. This is just one county. And you know what happened to the Kenya Urban Support Program 1 and 2. We all know. You know, we can hide, try to hide, but we all know that there was serious misappropriation and theft of those funds. We can say provide evidence or whatever it is that we say, but we all know it. And we know that that program has since collapsed. A program that was supposed to really help us, especially in our journey of devolution. Now, if 233 million just appears like that, and there is no view of what happened to that money and where we can recover that money, that is one county. We have 47 counties. Chair, I have nothing more useful to say.
Senator Chair, just in 30 seconds.
Just before you go.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, we are looking at few cases so that you can bite deep. We had the option of looking at all the cases so that we bite shallowly. But we elected just to look at 2 or 3, then we go very deep. So here, you know, this action, ESC action, is very interesting. DPP indicated that review of the evidence had established that the funds had been refunded. That is not an action. That is just an observation. So we needed to know what EACC had done after it discovered that the funds misappropriated had been refunded. It should have gone back to the county and at least did investigation. The path that we want to follow is CEO of doing investigations with a view of having civil proceedings to recover. There is no money to be recovered here because it was refunded to the votes that was supposed to use this money. Senator Charagay.
So that you make a rule because I think we have conversed on it much. I think there is a question you ask which the CEO and the chair need to ask. In most of these cases that DPP has withdrawn unilaterally without consultation, how much likely, you had given us approximation, but you didn't give us on the 17th. Finally, you know, Regina, if you are doing evidentiary analysis, you know, money that is such as Kenya Up and Support Program from under the PMF Act is based on special purpose account. You know that. Under the PMF Act, if you have to do a reallocation of money, you do supplementary one in a county assembly, even at the national level. So you should be giving us that when this money was put at special purpose account, then you should give us evidence that under supplementary one, the reallocation was approved by the County Assembly of Garissa under the Public Finance and Management Act. And then finally, in this reallocation, the programs, because the law under the PMF Act, you cannot spend the money without approval in the budget. Today, it's not like your money. Even if today the committee of the Senate, we must go through reallocation process, which is under supplementary, either one or two. So in your investigation, as you rule the chair, I think, Chair, what I am requesting, I know you are consulting, what I am requesting, because we have conversed, is for you to direct the EACC to give a status report on where this money is. And also when DPP appears, they should tell us how did they know it was recovered. I thought this has been a good news that they should have shared with EACC by saying, look here, gentlemen, this is 233, this is where we have traced the money, you are the investigators, here is your file, can you follow up on this? So Chair, can you rule that this matter is kept in view? Let us get in the next 14 days on the status of this 233 million plus. And this is a lot of money that would have changed. And I agree that COOPs 1 and 2, even Nandi, we had similar appropriations where they were doing footpaths, they were doing a market, even the county assembly investigated. These matters were referred to EACC. But that is why there was a bad record in terms of money getting from the World Bank. So, Chair, can you just direct that in the next 14 days, the charge sheet both by the DPP and EACC be provided to the committee?
I think members, even DPP, to come and hear their part of the story. But the way our letter was worded, we wanted to have all the letters, all the cases cited from 2013 to date, whether the files have been withdrawn, whether the cases have been withdrawn or not. And also in terms of tabulation, we wanted to know the cases forwarded to EACC. Have they been taken to court? When were they taken to court? That type of tracing, so that the public can know where the cases are. Because we've been accused as Senate and Parliament that there's nothing much we're doing. But we're telling them, normally we forward our cases to EACC. EACC does not prosecute. It is DPP who prosecutes. So we wanted to know also where the loose link is. The weak link will be established on. I want to direct as follows, that let us have all the files, the charge sheets and the files that have been closed. Number 4, 17 million was lost in the Rakanithi County. We want to know how it will be recovered. Have you instituted civil proceedings to recover this 17 million? We want to know the action around this 17 million lost, because these are public funds. Members, I think we can take some few minutes. We don't intend to stay further than 2. But no, there is the other part. The part 2. Of the cases that we are taken to EACC,
Yes, on 23-24.
for the year ending June 2024.
23-24.
It is 20.
3-24.
Yeah, it is there ending June 2024.
Okay.
It is
Yeah, yes,
23-24. Yes. So maybe.
Chair, can I request that we do one test on the Nandi County Executive 101?
So, Chair, EACC.
Maybe you can pick.
Where is the page?
Page, they have not paginated, but number Nandi Executive 101.
Nandi Executive.
It was the last before the esteemed and distinguished signature of Abdi M. Mohammed, MBS, the CEO. Yeah, maybe you can sample that. Yeah, it is on the last part. So the one that we had forwarded for recommendation as the
Yes, CEO, let's look at that.
Let me say the second part, Chair.
Yes.
Remember, these were the committee, or rather the Senate looked at these matters in March. The report, I'm giving a general view of all of them.
Sorry, let me improve on my direction. A bit, Can you give us the cases in 14 days?
This
the files that we requested for. 14 days.
Remember, we don't have the court files. We can only provide our files.
Yes.
Yeah. So
14 days.
14 days is
with the evidence.
Yeah, is good enough.
It's so directed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Chair,
you want to add something?
Sorry, if to help us, where there is an application filed by DPP in court, because you said you have officers holding brief, get us copies of those applications.
Okay.
Okay?
So, yeah.
And because we want to help each other, if you can also get us proceedings, let's have a set of the proceedings. Like there are cases you have cited, they are dragged because applications are filed. You know, you are looked at being professionals. This is no one is yes. So if you give us facts backed with evidence, you make it easier for us. Yeah.
Thank you.
So that ruling also goes for the tabulation that we asked for. Okay. All the cases from 2013 in all the counties. Whether they're still there in court? Yes.
Chair, I seek indulgence on this matter. That second leg of responses is a lot more current than the previous one. I heard you say that we'll not be here past 2. It's not like 20 minutes to 2. I would rather you don't rush this section, Chair. I would rather we have another day to deal with this matter. This is a very, very current issue. Because if we say that we just gloss over this for the next 20 minutes, I don't know what we'll be able to achieve out of it. That's just my concern.
Auditor General's report in July of this year. And that being 2 months down preliminary stages where we are collecting documents and we are recording statements. So in all these cases that were in the auditor's report, which the Senate approved, I think, sometime in March this year, and were available in the Auditor General's report in July, these are fresh cases in our records, and nothing much has been done. But for the old cases, we have done, there are some cases where we've engaged, there are cases where we've recommended to Kenya shillings 343, 381, 962. Okay, 77 purchase orders for Department of Roads and 40 purchase orders for Department of Finance and Economic without explanation in the financial year 2023-2024. So what we have indicated there is preliminary investigations ongoing to inform further action. So, Chair, the totality of all these cases is we picked them in July this year. They are very fresh, but we have already done most of them. We've done the preliminary investigations, and there isn't much to report on fresh cases that are only 2 months with us, while we have many, many other cases that we have been dealing with in the past.
So including so on the issue of 101 through the chair, so preliminary investigations are ongoing.
Yes.
That's your answer. But looking at the one on, you have indicated, let me just pick one. I have seen, Chair, just indulge me, on cases DPP should consent and subsequent withdrew the consent. I think that one we had discussed, Chair. I just wanted to pick one, Chair, on, is it you have not paginated, you have, there is one on Nyamira, where you have...
But even before you go to Nyamira, CEO, when we say preliminary investigations ongoing, what have you done? What is the action that you've done? You've written maybe to counties. What have you done?
Documents.
Yeah, the first thing we do before we commence investigation is to analyze the evidence and what is required. So we come up with a work plan, which basically guides us on how to go about it. In most of these cases, we've done letters to the county governments. In others, we are analyzing the evidence that we have. Remember, we are relying on a report from the Auditor General. The Auditor General's report doesn't give all the evidence that is required to prosecute a criminal case. It basically gives an overview of what they came up with. In some cases, they have not been given documents to verify what they were looking for. And they raise that as a query. So, in all these cases, because we picked them in July this year, and we've had them only for 2 months, and we have many other cases that we've been dealing with in the past, they are the preliminary stages where we do letters, and next thing, of course, is to collect evidence and to invite the witnesses for statement recording.
I don't know if to prejudice, my question would prejudice the type of investigations that are ongoing for the sake of voided payments, because this is a big issue in the Senate, and it's a major culprit now with the growing pending. And what type of documents would we be asking for to try and crack this issue of voided payments? Because for voided payments, the county would requisition for money from control of budget. Then when that money is sanctioned, then they pay different suppliers. So what type of documents would we be looking for?
So, Chair, first of all, we'll be seeking the IFMIS records to see, and of course the allocations made by the COB. And then because it's alleged they got the money but then spent it for other purposes, maybe which were not even planned for. So we will ask for procurement documents. And then we'll also want documents to show us how did they spend the money and where did they spend it. Or did they then divert it and it ended up being embezzled without any services being rendered. So there will be a raft of very many documents to answer to the question, was avoiding intended to divert the monies somewhere else or in ghost projects or works which never benefited the many counties, because we have several of them, and we noticed it's a big deal, so it will be a big investigation. And what will happen is the investigation teams, the first thing we do is get the documents first, as the CEO is explaining, to do a preliminary and just get a feel of where is this going and how far and to what extent might we go. Because we may do some and find there was no voiding. Or maybe at the time the Auditor General...
But was that for good? Reasons.
Yeah, for good reason. Or we find the allocations maybe were okay. So there may be a raft of several findings in the files depending on the circumstances of each.
Thank you, Regina. Senator
Chair, I just wanted to say something on voiding payments. I think EACC, you need to focus in that area because there's a big problem as far as voiding payment is concerned. And COB has expressed that once she approves the payment on this side, on the other side, she doesn't know how payments are done by IFMIS. So if you look at all the counties, the same thing of voiding is happening, a lot of money. And actually that is as a result of also pending bills because the intended contractors are not paid. Others are paid outside. So I think maybe you need to focus in that area and see how you can be able to help northern governors to come up with the legislation on how that payment is effected. It's almost 10 years plus. Counties are paying. I don't know what you are going to do about that, but because I've seen you have written to AG, but clearly you have lawyers in-house who should be able to tell you this is illegal.
An observation on what, and I know Regina, you should know this, and CEO and Chair. The Public Audit Act, Section 53. You know this after the resolution of House in the March. The Section 53 of the Public Audit Act is very clear that they made recommendations on the audit report. A, take the relevant steps to implement the recommendation of Parliament on the report of Auditor General. So, EACC, I don't know when did you receive the resolution of the Senate, because I thought it adopted. It is normally transmitted directly through the clerk of the Senate to the entity, including EACC, DPP, and other stakeholders. So you can see, if we were to assume that you did receive in April or March, you should not be discussing about preliminary investigations. You should be telling us either you are 50% into investigations or you are 20%, because that is what the Section 63 of the Public Audit Act demands of all of us. Because I know investigating white-collar crime or white-collar crimes is a bit technical because of the many aspects that is involved, but having preliminary almost 6-7 months down the line does not look very good. So
what is the challenge you have? What is the challenge?
For these specific ones, it's us actually who had to go to the website to retrieve the information. We didn't receive that information directly.
Oh, from our clerk in the Senate?
Yes.
Okay.
We didn't receive. We only, after receiving the letter, is when now we had to look for the report from the website, the report of the Auditor General. And there was no direct transmission.
Herman, and
It was
CEO
11th of July.
is because Kenyans are restless. They really want to know what we are doing. You know, when you go to the village, for us who are politicians, every weekend, you go and tell people asking why the bridge has not fixed, you are being told corruption. Then they're asking you, what are you doing about it? That is why we are struggling to try and join you in the fight against corruption, because we need anybody who takes public money to be prosecuted as soon as possible, even as soon as yesterday, so that Kenyans can see you are doing something about it. And that is how you'll win back the confidence of the commission. Because if you arrest somebody and prosecute after a thorough investigation, it gives the confidence of the public. That's why all of us, whether you are in EACC, you are in judiciary, you are in parliament, we are being accused that we are spending taxpayers' money through the chair, but they are not seeing value for their money. So did you receive the letter?
The letter that we have. The timelines.
Yeah, within the timelines of 3 months.
Or even this one is status report. Even this one is status report.
It is status report, but it's beyond the 3 months. Yet the Section 53 mandates them to respond back to our recommendations and resolutions. So when he said, not on invitation, we invited them to come.
Yes. Assuming you didn't invite them.
But it is, the law provides that they are the ones to update us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah? I'm asking them.
The way Section 6 of the DPP Act.
Chairman, assuming we didn't write to you, would you have written to us, giving a status report?
Chair, we normally give a report, quarterly reports that we send to Parliament on the status of all the files and cases that we have, those that have been investigated, prosecuted, everything, including the ones that are still undergoing investigation. So that we do as a matter of procedure.
But I thought that is different. Because Section 53 of the Public Audit Act is specific on the recommendations and resolution after OAG.
Can you read the section, Malcolm?
Section 53.
As Malcolm goes through that section,
I've already read the section.
You've read the section?
Yes, let me just repeat with your indulgence. Section 53 of the Public Audit Act, implementation of reports by an accounting officer, subsection 1. The relevant accounting officer of a state organ or a public entity, now the EACC, shall within 3 months after Parliament has considered and made recommendations on the audit report, A, take the relevant steps to implement the recommendations of Parliament on the report of Auditor General, or B, give explanations in writing to Parliament on why the report has not been acted upon.
That's clear, Chairman.
It's clear, Chairman.
Very clear.
And we are working
that section should be complied with.
I think, Chair, the letters that we have received are the ones that actually called us to.
But the one on our resolution.
Do we have it? Just go through it.
We need to confirm because
George, was it received?
But CEO, you know, that's why we're having this engagement, so that we tie the loose ends. If we have not been able to comply, we can agree on how you will comply going forward. That's the purpose of this engagement.
Chair, we'll check later on when the letter was released.
The previous practice has been that whenever you make a resolution, the report was usually forwarded to us. But you know, now I think we've all gone digital, and when we received these letters is when we went to the website to check the report of the Auditor General. That is when we downloaded and we were able to work on this report, and that was in July. But as Senator Omugeni says, we all need to improve, and I agree. We need to have a better way of coordinating, you know, between the two institutions.
Okay, because we've indicated that in several cases investigations are ongoing. How much time would you want us to give you so that can give us another report? Because there are some cases that are quite straightforward. Like if you look at 83, the allegation of irregular procurement of prime mover and 5 large tippers, dump truck, at a cost of 61,300,000 shillings, out of which an amount of 22,550,000 was paid in the year 2023-2024, it is alleged that the equipment was acquired and delivered in the financial year 2022-2023. However, the purchase of the heavy machinery was not included in the annual development plan of the said year. So how long would it take you to do an investigation on this one so that you give us a report? And several others that look quite straightforward and look quite easy.
Chair, let me say that these are not the only matters that we are dealing with at the Commission. There are very many cases that are still ongoing. We'll have to find space to accommodate these other ones, remembering that we have limited resource in terms of the investigators and the lawyers that are to do with it to handle the cases. So we will give it our best, identify those high-profile cases, at least whether it is one case per county, because we will not be able to accommodate 110 cases, 102 cases at a go, while each investigator is already running with 10 or 20 other matters, which are half done. So we will have to accommodate them as much as we can, but for now, we cannot commit ourselves and say, this is when we'll produce the reports.
Chair, CEO and Chair. So, CEO, if Kenyans are listening to you, what do you think they would imagine? Because if you are using that assessment, then in short you are saying it can take the next 2-3 years. Is there a way you segregate cases so that there are cases that, and your lawyers and investigators are here, that is it possible to segregate cases so that the cases that are direct, you know, I agree if there are cases who use MLA and international aspect, it can take long because of catering. But if the cases are open and shut, shouldn't you have a timeline? Because you remember, and luckily I served as the JLAC chair in the last session, there were even proposals when I think when the current Nurdin Haji was DPP, there were even suggestions among Kenyans that issues of corruption we should conclude within 2 years, 24 months. There were even that suggestion. So having that in mind, do you think a feasibility where we can amend the law and say through the chair that corruption cases should and must be concluded within 24 months so that Kenyans get value for? Because I remember in one case, Nandi County, for example, your officers came, and I know you might be aware of this case on the payroll scandal. They carted away documents, they have people who are fired. Up to now, 2 years down the line, no one has been arrested. So when you even go and tell my people in Nandi, you know, EACC walikuja wakafanya uchunguzi, they will ask you, are you mad? Because they have waited for 2 years even for a clerk to be arrested. And that matter, by the way, is open and shut. Because the people who are earning money legally through the payroll were people who are ghost workers, they are known, it is easy to track them. So I'm just giving an example. I don't know the status of the investigation, but I'm just giving an example because the payroll shows XYZ was earning money without working. So I thought that is a very easy case to prosecute, because if it was Cherargei, for example, earning for chief officer, yet he was not working, you can invite them for statements and prosecute. So is there a way you can segregate cases? Say that you are telling Kenyans, look, these cases XYZ, we found it that they are open and shut cases, we will prosecute. For these cases, because it has aspect of complexities, we will do this. And that comes to the question. Because I know where you are coming to on the issue of appropriation by parliament. I know that is a challenge and resources and what have you. But you have regional offices. What is the role of your officers in regional offices like in South Rift, in North Rift, in Garissa, in Coast? What is their role? Are they supposed just to go and arrest, then forward all the files to Nairobi, or what do they do? Thank you.
Chair, let me comment on the last,
Yes.
the last case that the Senator talked about. That case is right now being read by the lawyers. That is the last stage. So we expect in the next, maybe in the next 2 or 3 weeks, that file should progress to the DPP for charging. Now, as to our policy, we have a policy in terms of prioritizing cases, because every 1 year we receive more than 3,000 reports, complaints. Remember, we receive reports from the Senate, we receive reports from the National Assembly, we receive reports direct from the Auditor General, we receive reports from members of the public who walk in. The number of investigators we have are about 200. Now, if you are to deal with 3,000 complaints in 1 year to be handled by 200 investigators, that's a tall order. So we have a policy and we've come up with a procedure to prioritize our cases. The first thing we look at is the public interest in the case. Like the case you talked about is of high public interest. Now, the next thing that we consider is the value of the money involved. If, for example, you have a case where you have 100 million and another case you have 100 billion shillings, we will prioritize the 1 billion shillings. To the complainant who brought that complaint of 100 million shillings, it looks big and it should be dealt with tomorrow. But that is the reality because we have to deal with the resources that we have. Number 3 is actually the personalities involved. If, for example, you have a very senior personality, public officer, it takes a precedent over a junior officer, for example, like a clerk. So when we put cases along those measures, there are cases that will not be fast-tracked, other cases will be fast-tracked. So that is why, Chair, you will allow me not to commit to a time frame on this report, but in our next meeting, we will have been able now to indicate, looking at all factors that are available to indicate when we are likely to forward or to conclude these matters. Thank you, Chair.
Just to donate members, closing remarks to Senior Counsel, Senator Omogeni, you will comment. Then we give the CEO, the chair, to give your final remarks, and then you close the meeting. We said we would close our meeting at 2. Senator Onyamira.
Yeah, just to thank the team from EACC Chairman, CEO, and others. This is a useful engagement because as a committee, we want to enhance good governance, proper utilization of resources that go to our counties, and we can never have a better partner than EACC in this endeavor. And as you have heard from Senator here, we all get serious challenges from our respective counties. People want to see how impactful resources that have gone to our counties, how effective have the resources been to the people at the counties. And the people expect those who have embezzled public resources to face sanctions, to face consequences. And the only entity that Kenyans look up to, or even us as a committee, it's EACC. So let's open this chapter of collaboration, working together, ideas on any changes to the law that you think will enhance your capacity of being very effective, because that's what we want and that's what Kenyans want. And the Bishop, I know that's a hot seat, but you are a man of God. Take courage. Even me, I used to be there. I left. I have not died. I'm still living. So, yeah, take it on with courage. Many countries even go after retired presidents. I saw, I think yesterday, I saw somebody in, where is our Natra? Where does he come from? Which country? Was jailed for 1 year. I've seen former president South Korea, so that you send a message that really nobody is a sacred cow. But thank you for coming. Let's have more of these engagements. I'm sure they will be fruitful in enhancing what you do and what is expected of us to Kenyans who are stakeholders, you and us. Asanteni.
CEO Abdi Mohammed.
Thank you. I think I also want to thank the committee for the invite. We are always willing to support and give the committee any information that they require. We take any criticisms that have come across as in good faith. We don't take anything personal. We are here to serve the public, our Kenyan public. But I just want to make one observation. I think the Senate, being the house that is supposed to look after the county governments need to come up with proper legislations to deal with issues around the county governments, especially when it comes to good governance. It should not be that we only deal with issues like we are firefighting. In the last presentations that we made here, we made one suggestion. When we looked at the risk analysis that we do within the counties, the risk, the counties, the risk they face, we identified the human resource as the biggest risk. And if you look at the list that we have given on the offenses committed, it basically has to do with offenses that are deliberately committed by the human resource or are committed by human resource that are compelled to do certain things. One of the suggestions which would deal with this thing in the long run would be if the management of the human resource would be delineated or removed from the county governance management. And one of the ways of doing that is to create a central body that deals with all matters HR within the county governments, like establishment of a county public service board that looks at all counties. I know someone will say these are different governments, but if they have one central COG, why can't we think of a way of putting the human resource management in one body? Counties Public Service Board that will be able to recruit, transfer, deploy, promote, train all county government officials. Because, Chair, you will excuse me by saying this, that when we visit the counties, you will find counties affairs being run by people who are not qualified. You will find someone who is not a specialist in procurement or who is not a member of KISIM being in charge of procurement in an institution in a county government. You will find someone who has no background or experience on finances, managing the county finances. What you would expect out of that is a situation where there will be chaos. So, Chair, what I would propose is as you engage us, as you criticize the public bodies that are supposed to deal with governance issues, I think the role of what I would encourage you is to look at the bigger picture. What solutions can we come up with in terms of legislation? And to conclude, the county public service boards are formed under a statute. They are not formed under the Constitution. So the Constitution, I can't remember the article, but basically we'll talk about there being staff of the county governments. But it's the act that actually specifies the constitution of these specific bodies. So, Chair, I conclude by saying we are willing and ready to take criticisms wherever it comes from, but I think the Senate also need to look at the bigger picture so that we don't continue firefighting issues governance. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Very, very good recommendations, like the one of forming an umbrella public service board. In the last parliament, we tried it in the Labour Committee with Senator Sakaja to try and have an umbrella county public service board that can harmonize employment, can be in charge of even transfers. Right now, transferring a doctor from Nairobi to Mombasa is extremely problematic. So I think that is something you can take home. And even having a policy framework for all the employees is quite necessary. So I think, yeah, that's a good take home. Chairman Bishop Oginde, your closing remarks.
Thank you, Chair. We want to appreciate your invitation to this committee and the interrogation of the issues that we are dealing with. I want to take it very positively because I think there are issues that have come up that would otherwise not have come up in regard to the best way we can deal with issues of corruption. Senator Omgeni raised the issue of how can we be assisted to be more effective in our work. And two things have come up. One is the whole issue of the process and the legal framework. That is something that as senators and as parliament need to look at. How do we strengthen the work of the commission so that we can deliver on the mandate that we have been given within our constitution and within our laws. And Kenyans, as you have said rightly, are looking up to us to be able to deliver this. And we, as a commission, are ready. And I can assure you, senators, that we are very committed to the work of dealing with issues of ethics and anti-corruption in this country. And we do our very best to pursue that. But there are those hurdles that need to be looked at, and we appreciate the fact that you have observed the same and you are willing to do something about it. The second is the issue of resources, and resources, not just money, but also human resource. For example, Senator, unfortunately, has just walked out, and he asked, what are our regional staff doing? You'll find our regions, we have 11 regions, which some of them cover 4 or 5 counties. And there is only one investigator for those 4 or 5 counties. So if a matter comes up within a county and we refer this to our regional team to look into it, you have this one person, and many times the person would have even been known within the region. And so when they are doing investigations, it is very difficult. And that's why they have to keep referring. We have to get them support from the head office. And even the head office, we are overwhelmed by the number of cases. It is unfortunate, but the issue of corruption is really growing in our society. So the cases that we have to deal with, that the CEO has just mentioned, are overwhelming. So we would like to appeal to Senate and Parliament to just see how can we be resourced so that we have at least 3 or 4 investigators within a region so that they can handle the matters that are within that particular region effectively without having to wait for a very long time. That's why you found the CEO was unwilling to make a commitment with specific dates as to when are we going to get action on these particular files, because we also deal with other at national level, in parastatals, in other institutions, agencies. So that empowerment needs to be looked at so that we have the capacity to be able to trace all these cases that come our way. But otherwise, we just want to assure this committee, Parliament, and of course the general public, that the issues of investigating and dealing with matters corruption are in good hands, and we are committed to do whatever it is that we have been mandated to do to the best of our ability. But those 2 areas need attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, for coming, and your team. We want to close the meeting, but I must say that I don't admire your position at all. Because Kenya, corruption is a way of life. I know when it becomes a way of life, fighting it is extremely difficult. You don't know where the head is. You don't know where the tail is. So you're fighting something, that animal that goes right, left. What is it called? It has a name. Dumakuili. So it's a very difficult thing. That day when we decide to have independent institutions in Kenya, as stipulated in the Constitution, then we can fight corruption effectively. When we have an independent Parliament, independent EACC, independent Auditor General, independent DPP, because at times we feel that our institutions are not extremely independent. Otherwise, how is it that when a regime takes over, then cases are withdrawn right, left, and center? It means there is no independence. If you want to fight corruption in Kenya, you can fight corruption. If you are a chief officer in a county and you've built a house worth, in 2 years, worth 20 million, and your salary can't support that, that is a product of corruption. Let's seize it. If we don't tighten our laws and work on our ethics, and hear your preachings as bishop. But even the churches also. Churches are fighting. Leadership is fighting. Why are they fighting? It is resources. It is corruption. So I think we need prayer. We pray for each other. We pray for our country so that this cancer of corruption can heal. Thank you so much, all of us. Our meeting is adjourned until, George? Monday, what time?
10 a.m.
10 a.m. Thank you, Kimet.
Murang'a County Executive.
Murang'a County Executive. On Monday. Mkutano umeisha.